gentlemen, welcome to Minority Voices. This is your host, Ahmed Sharif, speaking today. We are expecting leaders from We Are Liberian. We Are Liberian. So as soon as they come, we're going to be talking to them what they are about and what it is. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for joining us today. We are going to be talking to one of the members of We Are Liberian from Philadelphia in the state of Pennsylvania. Thank you. Please introduce yourself. I can hear you.
Well, can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you now.
Thank you very much. By way of introduction, my name is C.A.T. Williams. I am the founder and visionary of the We Too Are Lovers Movement platform, your distinct and dynamic platform. So it's really good to be on the minority. What is it called?
Minority Voices.
Minority Voices. It's a pleasure and a great opportunity to share time and space with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. It is really amazing to be sitting with you today to talk about your organization. Can you tell us a little bit about what you are about and what you do and what's your size, the size
Well,
of your organization?
thank you very much, Mr. Sharif. Um, we are the We Too All Lovers movement. As far as the platform, when we are on the platform, we also add the platform. We are dedicated as far as our mission. We are dedicated to empowering the socially and morally conscious youth. Our platform aims to educate, uh, cultivate, and empower young men and women who are passionate about addressing the injustices and hardship in society. We also seek individuals who are ready to take responsibility and work towards making positive change. That's our mission. Our vision here is we aspire to be the premium movement of choice and to set the standard for our counterparts. What the movement is about changing the mindset. It's about changing our thought process because we believe strongly that the problem that Liberia has is far from politics. It has to do with the quality of persons that the country has produced over the years. So, and that's the background and the basis of foundation on which we were founded, so to speak. As far as the size of our organization or this organization, yeah, we are a growing organization. We're pretty much small. You probably will be asking the question if we do have our 501c3 status. We are, I would say, to a large extent, I personally have been the one moderating for the most part, doing a lot of the teaching and doing our presentation. We have viewers that will come here and there when we are broadcasting. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But we go back, because they do watch the live. So they'll come back and then you will have maybe 500, 600 individuals watching. But the movement has been making a lot of strides, based on the responses from individuals. So we are here locally as well as Liberia as well. So the We Too movement is both diasporan and the Liberians in Liberia locally.
Thank you, Mr. William. I mean, it seems like your organization is really molding the minds of Liberians in the community and Liberia at large to, address some of the issues that you were just talking about. Like you said, our issue is not politics, but sometimes we have to look at our mindset, the way we think. Uh, but let me ask you this question, Mr. William. What inspires you? What is the inspiration behind the beginning of We Too Are Liberians?
Okay, so just to add, I would like you to add the We Too Are Liberians movement because we
We
are a
Too Are
movement.
Liberians movement.
Yeah, yeah. I normally, I think yesterday I made an error and did not add that. So we're a movement, and then we have the platform. So what really inspired us, growing up, I came from a family to a large extent. I felt disenfranchised, and just our country. We come from a country where the suffering masses, if you can see, we are pretty much disenfranchised, where the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is the least on the agenda. So, based on some of the things that I saw at the time, not only in Liberia, even here locally, where we are in the states, I see how a lot of us here sometimes we are marginalized. We are misinformed, and we're demeaned and things of that nature. So based on those factors, I thought you know uh, to create an organization or to establish an organization that will impact the minds of our people, that would touch the minds of our people, pretty much. Because what I believe here is that if we can change the minds of the people, we can change the thought process of the people, the things around them will change. And one of the major problems that we have, again, to answer that question, which is what actually led me to starting the organization, is based on the fact that people are not thinking for themselves. So we have people that are doing the thinking for people, people making decisions for people. A lot of people have been sold out as far as even doing. We see it during election time. People take advantage of the impoverished. People take advantage, even the ones that you'd be surprised, the one that went to college or colleges and universities. They don't think for themselves. So it is based on that background where a lot of us were marginalized, were disenfranchised. We were demeaned, yeah, would be talked down on, and all that kind of stuff. Thought that to raise the conditions of our people, we can establish an organization that will get into the mindset of the people, that would tweak the philosophy of the people, because we believe that just like the Bible says, so a man think of himself, so is he. So that's the basis on which the organization was established.
Thank you very much, Mr. William. I mean, there's a lot of work to actually changing mindsets in Liberia, considering the kind of a society we have. Not to say it is impossible, because I can tell you anything is possible, but it's really laudable to take on such an initiative. That brings me to my next question. Can you share with us some of the key initiatives or programs that your organization is currently carrying on or handling or looking to achieve? What are some of those key initiatives or programs that you are currently working on?
Well, thank you again very much for that question. And since we are a very young organization that just started, we started sometime last year, last June, no, July, the end of July. And it's funny how we started. It was more like a vision, and we got started. So to just take it a step further to answer the question directly, since we are a young organization, one of the things that we have been doing, that we will consider our prime initiative, is to continue to propagate the message, that to resound the message, to broadcast, to have our podcast, enlightening our people, letting them know that they are more than what they think they are, They are the head, not the tail. I mean, they, regardless of their economic, social, and political status, you know what I mean, or where they come from, who's their parents, they're able to succeed and thrive and make it in life. We thought that the fact that we're a small organization and there are other existing organizations around, what we've decided to do is to work alongside organizations that to a large extent has similar objective, similar goals that we have. And if that organization ideology, mission also align with our because they're already doing the work. So what we intend to do is to kind of work with them. But to take it a step further, because we have attended a lot of programs. We have been on at programs where we spoke to youth, we spoke to even adults. We have been in the business of just revolutionizing, changing the thought processes of individuals. But we took a step further quite recently. In September, we were in Liberia. We went there for many reasons, but one of the key reasons why we were there is to ensure that we push our advocacy, which is the We Too Our Liberians movement. So we were out in the streets, from Bentor to Mount Barkley to Capital Baptist. We were red light, so to speak. We RIA International Airport Highway, wherever you may call it. We were there, and we continue to propagate the message, to resound the message, to elevate the condition, and to change the thought process of our people through our conversation, the conversation that we're having. Also, we had a very privileged and opportunity to also serve as guest speaker at an elementary school sometime last year, where and then we made some donation that we are yet to produce, because when we went to Liberia, oh man, I mean, some of the things as far as budgeting, things that we did not even plan to spend, we had to go overboard because we had to help people, just that we're not even part of our plan, our agenda, which obviously, depleted our budget, so we had to kind of retreat, and so we're trying to calibrate and get ourselves together. But as of right now, we have barriers. We don't want to we don't want to be an organization that's emulating the examples of other organizations, because our objective here is to educate, like we say, cultivate and empower. So our objective is not to go and give somebody rights. We want to teach people how to plant the rights. Our
Grow their own
objective
right.
is not to go and say, we're giving you $5, and then you come back tomorrow and give me $5. But we want to identify. One thing I think I neglected to mention here, I met a couple of folks. There's a guy who is into producing these artifacts, necklaces, African necklaces. We had an interview with him. In fact, we're in touch with him. We even sent him a little change here and there, and we decided to an extent, we want to industrialize his business because it's local. Those are the things that we're talking about, because we believe that you see the country, in fact, the government is the highest employer. So what can we do to assist in order to alleviate the burden off of the government? So we decided that people that have their little businesses, the little programs, the little market, little schools, we will go there and kind of assist, teach them how to teach. If you're a carpenter, we'll try to expand your business. If you're a plumber, we'll expand your business, the craft and things like that. And those are the types of things that we want to do, as opposed to buying 50 bag of rice, carrying and giving it to people. At the end of the day, to come back to you and then ask you for more. So we're in the business of we're taking a different dimension, teaching them, cultivating them, and then empowering them so that they'll be able to sustain themselves. Even if we're not around, they'll be able to also take care of themselves. So that's the path where we're taking. And those are some of the things that we're doing now.
Wow, that is really impactful to actually take all of those things back to our people back in Liberia, teaching them and empowering them to ensure that they are able to stand on their own feet, not just depending on somebody giving them handouts on a daily basis. Those are really impactful. But in doing that, you did say something about by the time you got there, your budget was how depleted because you were getting more people than you had even budgeted for. That is a normal thing in Liberia. If you say you are giving candy out here today, you just give it to two kids, and then 200 kids will show up. You will know, you will have no idea where those 200 kids will come from, but they will all come because there are people who are always there looking for something, especially if somebody is giving something out for free. But a lot of times, once you tell them that you are actually trying to get something better out of them, then that may change the dynamics a little bit. So, with that said, with your budget and everything, what were some of the challenges that you faced in carrying out some of these initiatives? Because that must have been really an eye opener for you.
Thank you. I think that's a good one, and I'm glad that you're asking that question. I mean, just from the very foundation of the organization, uh, I did one or two show and called one or two persons, and they told me straight up that Aite, you're wasting your time because this is not going to work. You know what I mean? It's not going to work trying to change the mindset of these people. Liberians would never change, and so those are the problems that we've had because the challenges here where we go places and then after we have these conversations, one would say, "Oh, look, my man, you're just coming here to talk and do this and do that." Even if you have a conversation with these people and you turn your back, they'll go back and be the same. So you're wasting your time. So those are some of the challenge, and some of the challenges also that we have here is that the people that are coming are so dependent that they're not about the message, they're about what they can get now. So what we have decided to do is to stay in touch because our actual goal and objective, Mr. Sharif, to further answer the question, we decided, like we said, to target the socially and morally conscious youth. So we say we would target the young children, 3, 5, 6 years old, and actually begin the fundamental education for these kids throughout maybe high school and university. Because even if we have 20, we can take these 20, train them, mold them, and that way, it's a whole different school of thought. So the challenges and now that we have been having, these people that we're trying to help, a lot of them are already grown. There's an African proverb that states that it takes a village to raise a child. But if the village is crazy, the village is going to produce crazy children. So the challenges that we have now is the fact that these people that we're dealing with, they're stuck in a particular culture, way of life, tradition. So we have to try to break free. For example, I met three young men for the very first time I went to a gym to fast track. And I started having these conversations with them. And when we get done with our conversation, maybe 5, 10 minutes, and I would turn the microphone to them and say, "What did you learn from this today?" Some would say, "You know what? Oh, thank you for having a conversation with us. That we can be somebody. We're not Zogo. We're not this." Those names that they have been labeled as, and we share with them the story that we were once in the same situation that they are in. And if they push themselves, they'll be able to make it as bad, even as bad as it is. If they push themselves, started to show themselves, improve, align themselves with the right people, it'll be better. But the fact that there is no opportunity, the community, the government, local government, national government is not providing, it does not have national programs, has already or is serving as some of the challenges that we have. So those are the challenges for the most part that we've had and that we have. And but we're determined. We believe that we are going to be able to make it. Dr. King once said, he said that the arc of the moral universe is bends towards justice, or is long, but it bends towards justice. So what we believe, just like the Bible says that weeping will endure for a night, but joy will come in the morning. So we're not going to stop. It's like gravity. We're going to keep knocking at it. We're going to keep pressing on, and we believe that it's going to happen someday. So even if we're not around, because we decided that we want to be we want to be the architect, the planners, and the designer. And so tomorrow, if we cannot complete this work, the young people will come and walk into it, and we'll eventually we will be able to create a brand new Liberia.
And thank you very much for that inspirational part that you said that you cannot allow anyone to discourage you. And I can tell you, there's a Chinese proverb that was actually first brought out by Tao Te Ching, but it was popularized by Lao Shu, another Chinese philosopher. And the philosopher is basically uh, a journey of a million miles begins with the first step. Now, when you were 5 years old, you never imagined you would be sitting where you are today.
No.
But today you are where you are. But what did you do? You took the first step, and that's why you are where you are today. Now, a lot of times, whenever you are doing things, people are going to find ways to discourage you and tell you what they think, where you succeed and where you will not succeed. But I think the best thing is to always remain true to what? To the goal that you have in mind, what you want to achieve.
Right.
But it is really laudable that you continue to really stress on why it is important to really work with our fellow Liberians or with your fellow Liberians. That brings me to my next question. But to do all of this is a lot. It's a lot of things to achieve, by just one organization. You need something even bigger than yourself. So, what role do you think the diaspora Liberians can play in supporting the development in Liberia and also in developing your goal for We Too Are Liberians movement? What role do you think diaspora Liberians can play in that?
Okay, so thank you again, Mr. Sherry. So the We Too movement has a culture that our culture is the the culture fostering the concept of I am because we are. I am only doing good if you're doing good. If I'm not doing good, you're not doing good. And why should I have $1 million and when my brother right next door can have $400? Why should I have 2,000 or let's say this big mansion, and all these bedrooms, and I have a family that lives right next to me? Can I even afford a room? Or a guy who lives next to me? So now that actually answers the question because said today those of us who are in the diaspora, we drive the economy of Liberia. What I mean? Individually and even maybe collectively, we can, if we all work together, we can make a difference. When I went to Liberia, I saw, people because I was born and raised in Liberia, left Liberia in 1997. Went back to Liberia for the very first time, 2021 after my mom passed. I was only there for I believe 3 or 4 days. Came back, so never had the opportunity or the privilege to actually see the dynamics of how things were actually happening in the country. But this time I was there for approximately a month, so I had the privilege and the opportunity to see. I drove around. I went to places like now I mean I kind of peeped around West Point. I was in Claratown. I was around Douala. I went to Broadville. I was in Bonnersville. I was in Garnersville, Red Light, Painesville. I mean, all those areas, and Mount Barkley, like I said, Bentor. I was, and what I saw a lot of. When you look around and say this individual is building this, that individual is building this, but what are we doing collectively? So what I think here is that for the diaspora, we've been blessed. A lot of us in the diaspora, we'll just say the Civil War because bro, a lot of us here has done some positive and negative things, but maybe the positive to a larger extent outweigh. You got doctors, you got lawyers, you got engineers, you got computer scientists, you got social scientists. So we can consolidate all of the knowledge that we've acquired and the skill that we have acquired. We all collectively have this one overall national plan and agenda to foster this country, like I said, the culture of I am because we are. What is my doctorate degree? if I'm not using it to improve the quality of lives of the people? What is my master's degree if I cannot take it from theory and bring it into practice? So I think with all of the wealth, the experiences, all of our little resources, our human capacity, if we can gather all of those, we can make our country a better place. But what we need to do first, I think we need to create a culture. And I think the We Too movement is the way to go. Mr. Sherry, I tell you now, you know what God has placed in me? That this We Too movement is a school of thought, is a place. You're gonna have the We Too University. It's not gonna be a typical university, but a lot of things that you don't learn in a university, the We Too movement is gonna be teaching it. For example, last week, not to divert, I just had a topic, right? Are you called to be a pastor or Christian capitalist? That was why do we nickel and dime our own, but we will spend millions on what? Louis Vuitton, on Gucci, on Balenciaga. Why are we doing that? And we are not investing in our own. Why are we not supporting our own? So with everything that we are not the West. You're Liberian, you're Bassa, you Kisi, you Loma. We have to bring back our culture and our tradition. So I think if we can go back to the drawing table, all of us here in the diaspora, instead of us operating as individuals, rather to operate as a unit, fostering this concept of I am because we are. I'm only doing good if you're doing good. I think we will make Liberia a better place. And that's my perspective on that question.
I mean, it is really amazing some of the things that you are sharing with our viewers today, Mr. William, to have such a passion, such a dream to bring things back to our people. Ours is a challenge society. And yes, you did hit on some key points of, I think economists call that transfer payment, the total amount of money that people from the diaspora, for example, are transmitting to people in Liberia, which is even by far more than the national budget of Liberia. I'm talking about the $700 million budget of Liberia is by far less than what diaspora Liberians are transferring to their families in Liberia, either for project or just as transfer payments to upkeep the families in Liberia. It is huge. Now, so imagine if every Liberian out there was just putting a dollar or maybe even 25 cents into something and say, listen, I believe in this movement and therefore I can put this into this movement. And if you can just get maybe even 25, let's say 1,000 people to believe in your movement and say, hey, I could give you a quarter every month. That is huge by itself.
Yeah.
And I mean, it really doesn't take much, but sometimes it's the little contributions that can really drive those kinds of things. But a lot of times, our brothers and sisters in Liberia, sometimes we don't see the contribution that other people are making to make our economy to continue to work the way it is working. Well, which is what, like in what somebody said one time, a well-oiled machine. I think that was Milton Friedman. What that is really that oil that keeps running that economy. Because when you go there for a visit, when you go there to carry out a project, you are actually injecting money into that economy. And I hope everybody can just understand that and continue to work with you. And that is going to bring me to my next question, which is looking ahead. What is the future goal? What are some of the really direct things that you want to achieve? I'm talking about tangible achievements that you want to have in that society.
Thank you again. I think that's a strategic question, and I will come with a strategic answer, straight to the point. And the answer to that, what I want to see a new Liberia Renaissance. Want to see a brand new Liberia where we will have uh, the best universities, where we will have our culture and our tradition restored, where we'll have the young exceed the old. The book says that I believe the latter will surpass the former, or the latter shall be greater than the former. So those are the things that we want to see. An ethical society. We want to see a transparent government. We want to see, high quality individuals being produced. Like I said, to take it back to what I said about the culture and the tradition and the university, I want to see our technical schools being, equipped, our vocational schools being equipped, primary education being empowered, equipped at the same time. Just a typical school student from Liberia will be able to enroll into any university and will be able to produce, be able to matriculate their way easily if they wanted to pursue higher education, to be able to do it. I want to see a better Liberia, where Liberia will be safe, where children will be able to grow in harmony, will be able to pursue their dreams. So there's a lot of things, what I mean. But just to bring it into context, want to see a brand new Liberia where people will be able to maximize their potential. People will be able to reach their zenith, because again, I don't know, Mr. Sherry, not
Yeah,
to.
I'm gonna hold you to that question, Mr. William. I mean, pardon me, but I'm gonna hold you to that question. When you tell me a brand new Liberia, where brand new, where universities are improved and all of that, all of those things are really kind of vague to me, because how do you achieve that? First of all, let's look at the educational system in the country right now. The educational system, when I went to high school, let me put it on myself, not anybody else. When I went to high school in Liberia, you were required to pass what they call the national exam, which is called the WATS today. The national exam, the West African, which was conducted by the West African Examination Council. You had to pass the national exam before you can even graduate. Without that, you could not even march. You could not graduate. Now, today, that system is a little different, where they have 8 subjects, but if you have to pass 5. Now, for the most part, most of those that are leaving high schools today, whether you pass 1 subject or you pass 5 subjects, you all graduate. Now, time to go to college. Some universities, like the University of Liberia, will say, oh, no, we cannot take you if you do not have the 5 subject pass. If you did not pass the 5 subjects, we are not going to take you. But other universities, which is a proliferation of universities in Liberia today, will say, oh, no, you can come. We will take you. We'll give you the same BSc. So it has become more of a business for people to just go and get a BSc or a bachelor's degree, if I should specify, to go and get a bachelor's degree. All you have to do, you pay their money and you go to school. And the output of a lot of those, and I'm not trying to beat on any particular school, but the output of a lot of those schools are really abysmal. If you look at a country like Liberia, they say they have 80, more than 80 institutions of higher learning. You wonder where they are, because if somebody asks you, Mr. Williams, to name even 10, maybe you can't even come up with 10 on your own. But and the same thing with me, I can't even come out with 10 on my own. But the information is, or the real record is, there are more than 80 of those universities. So how are you going to really improve that, to make sure that people who are growing up in Liberia can be at their zenith, if I can borrow your word, the word you use, can be at the zenith, or they can be at that productive level in whatever they do in that country, thereby making the country better.
All right. So Mr. Sherry, Mr. Sherry, you see, the way I respond to this question that might be a little bit harsh, right? Again, we'll go back to the African proverb that states that it takes a village to raise a child. If the village
True.
is crazy, the village is going to produce crazy children. What a man sow, he will reap. So what we have been, we've sown over the years is what we're reaping now. Um,
Right.
if you go back to prior to the Civil War in Liberia, the University of Liberia was a top-notch university. You know, people were grads. Cotton University was the top-notch university. I never, because I was young. I never went to university in Liberia. I went to university here in the States. But what I am saying, those are the two major universities, I think, right after 1990 and 1992, 93, because my brother went to CWA. So he went to CWA Junior College. And I know another junior college that they have, maybe was, I don't know what, AME or Zion Community College. I don't think they had the AME at the time. So you had those universities. Then you had TC, because I had an instructor who taught me. I went to St. Michael's Catholic High School. He taught me English. I had another one who taught me physics. He taught me English, doctoring, and all of that. Those were guys who came from a 2 years college, well schooled, scholar. Those guys were great, sound, sober. They could compete with the some of the University of Liberia students. Not to say in a demeaning way, because those universities, even BWI, people were graduating from BWI and they were producing. Those guys were architecture draftsmen. Some of them were working at rural development. I had an uncle who did something along those lines, you know what I mean? And he did that. So some of us, they were where I mean, when I went to Ghana, so I was a refugee, I decided to take that pathway to go and learn the trades. But to answer the question, what I would do, like you said, if there are 80 universities in the school, even the University of Liberia, I can tell you for a fact, I would shut down that university. I would shut down the Cardinal University. I would shut down a whole bunch of the university. We got to go back to the drawing table and start all over. Mr. Sharif, the country was established in a very poor foundation already. You know what I mean? Liberia is an experiment. So a lot of things, we need to sit down to answer that question now. We got to start anew completely. Because for us to have the new better Liberia is to start with our primary education. Because you have a guy who graduated high school, went to the university, cannot even conjugate verb. You had a guy who even graduated high school, or a girl who did not graduate cannot even do simple arithmetic, but wants to work at the bank. And these are the people, in fact, who want to teach at the University of Liberia and other universities. Those individuals are half educated, they are semi educated. In fact, they are destroying the educational system in the country. So we need to go back to the drawing table, dissolve these institutions, rewrite our curriculum, and make sure we scrutinize, like I said, the new Liberia requires some of those individuals that are living, they have to die. Some people will have to die, and we completely extinguish them in order for us to bring the new ideology, new idea. Because the guy who, if you go to Liberia right now, anything you want, you can have. If you want a master's degree, they can print it out and give it to you. I'm not diverting, but I went there to get my passport. The foreign ministry, there's an extension of the foreign ministry outside foreign ministry where they can produce everything that you need before you go inside to even get there. So the same with the university. I just saw, a PhD program. They are talking about a PhD program being held at a university. Somebody was saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter. You can even have a PhD school, PhD education offer under a tree." Yes, the university is not the building, right? But there are other resources, facility that are needed. Especially look at the time that we're living, the information technology time. You have students who don't even have bench. You don't have library. You don't have laboratory. Look at the books that we're reading. So, Mr. Sherry, to answer that question, I think we need to go back to the very foundation, start with the primary education, because this is we're talking about the new Liberia. This is why we're saying, can I go a little bit further, Mr. Sherry?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Take your time.
So, shortly after the Civil War in America, the 7 men will form the first class of Morehouse College. I'm not diverting, I'm making a point. These men decided that they will go back. Some decided they will be teachers, some decided they will be preachers. To go back and then they would train the doctors, the lawyers, the this, that, and all the other career. And that's why Benjamin Elijah Mason said that it would not be sufficient for Morehouse College to produce just clever graduates, but to produce individuals who are sensitive to the wrongs, the suffering, and injustices of society. What we're doing to our people, short-handing our people. Because the guy who said he went to Princeton University will go back to Liberia and be consumed by the guy who didn't even go to the Princeton University. What can we do? We need to sit down. Those of us who really love the country, want to see the country become better, want to see the country, move to the next level, dissolve these institutions, rewrite our curriculum so that we can be like Rwanda. The solution to the problem is in proximity. So we can be able to compete with universities around the world, universities in Ghana. So I think the solutions are there. So until we can dissolve all these, even the University of Liberia is not up to par. Because why would you graduate from a university? I mean, in your whole lifetime, you say you did civil engineering, but you never went to no physics lab, right? And that's why the same thing. Why are we struggling to bear our roles? Why we don't have industries in the country? Why are we still having jobs problem? Because the same guy too who come here to America, who went to Princeton University, got finance degree, goes to Liberia, or he knows how to borrow money from IMF. He knows how to borrow money from the World Bank. He's not creative. So we have a lot of problems. We need to dissolve these schools and start all over, because I'm getting a little bit amped up and a little bit excited. But I think that the new Liberia require everything new. You know what I mean? Why it's true that we have some people who are really studying to show themselves approved. They're smart enough. But let's look at it from the more holistic standpoint. I think we need to dissolve those institutions and start all over.
Mr. William, those are very strong thoughts, and others may even consider it very radical opinion on the system going on there. I have lived in Liberia going on to 7 years now, but I can tell you this: of all the institutions, the University of Liberia is doing a lot better. The students do better, not without any biases or anything of that nature. I think they still maintain a certain standard. Like the premise I said earlier, to be able to enter the University of Liberia, you still need to pass your entire WIAC, which is a requirement for passing, which is you have to pass more than five subjects or better to be able to enter you. So they are still holding some standards there. It is not perfect, but most of the problems of the University of Liberia, for example, it comes from underfunding, which is like any other government institution in Liberia. Funding, the funding is not there. And if the funding is not there to fund these institutions, it's hard for them to really be at their best. Like BWI, you were talking about. In the 80s, BWI had a budget of about $5 million. So it took a minister from, sometimes they would take someone who was a deputy minister of education to make them principal of BWI. That's how they carry it, and that's how those institutions were ran. Or even to be a principal of Tubman High, you had to really be on your A game. It was not just somebody walking out of the park to be the head of those institutions, just to name a few. But with what happened in the war, and I hate to keep going back to what happened in the war, but that brought about a proliferation of different thoughts and different caliber of people into the system. So that has really uh, created a system of lack of control, if I may say, of the system. And now, what that has done, because most of these people cannot really enter the main institutions in the country, like the Cottington and the University of Liberia, so that created another situation where people felt that they too want to go to college. And so other people just went ahead and created other schools they call universities, which is real a shame. But you have those things today. So I would think the best way to do that The government has to really caution the committee or the Department of Higher Education in Liberia to really begin to look into something like this. But I would not just call on the outright dissolution of all the schools in the country. I think we can still make things better, you know, and try to improve things in the country. But how do you do that? You have to also make sure you bring the right teachers to teach the right classes. People who are teaching these classes must be prepared to know the subject matter of what they are teaching. So the Liberian problem is a little more complex, and sometimes we have to really dig deep into it. But that brings me to my next question. And what you said was very powerful. It's a very powerful vision. Others may see it differently. But how can people support your movement to be able to achieve some of these things? How can other people, support your movement to be able to achieve the things that you want to achieve?
So, Mr. Sherry, thank you again for that. That's a great question. And uh, for now, our organization is. Are you there, Mr. Sherry? I think I lost him. Hello, I think Mr. Sherry got lost a little bit. Hello, and you
Yes,
got
I'm
lost.
here.
You got lost for a little bit, right?
Yeah,
So,
sorry about that. Go ahead.
no problem, no problem. So the question again was, how do uh, intend to achieve? How can other organizations? So the We Too movement has been self-funded. Everything that we have been doing, we've not received any donor funds or anything from state, local organization, anyone. We decided that we were going to take the initiative to get started, because one of our philosophy too, the borrower is a slave to the debtor in the creditor.
Good data.
So
Yeah.
we want to, we are independent. We're not saying that with this concept that we're talking about, fostering the concept of I am, because we are, and that's why we decided that we're aligned with existing organizations. We also want organizations that, and that's why we're trying to showcase ourselves, our work. I was very delighted when I was called on by Mr. Westner to be a part of the, I guess, gun violence and drug addiction walk, something along this line. It was titled. I was excited to be a part of that, because I take a particular interest in the uh, in our youth, young men, women alike. I want to see the lives of people be better. So, how we intend to go about this? Any organization, anyone who will find us, read our mission, our vision, our mission statement, follow us and to know exactly what we're about. Feel free to come and support us. Free. Like we said, we have individuals that we're reaching out. We'll soon start our outreach programs, to go out there and start talking to our people, because we believe that, especially those of us who we just try to generalize it and say a lot of our people, even here locally in the States, Mr. Cherry, you won't believe it. Information. People are not, they do not know, living in this information technology time, do not know how to get certain information. We have first time people who are coming from just entering the country. We want to serve also to give them information, to share information with them, to empower them, to educate them, just little things that so they can be able to get on their feet. So anyone who will hear or see our work, hear about or see our work, have read about us or we read about us, and you're interested, you can find. We are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we are on. We have tons of YouTube videos. We do a lot of teaching. We do a lot of inspiration. We do motivational speaking. So if you are interested, you like what we do, definitely you can call on us. My number is there, 484-318-5668. But we're right there. We do, our website is in the works. We're working on that. So there's a lot of things that we're working on. And if your ideology, your mindset align with our ideology, our mission, you know what I mean, you can definitely call on us to give us the support. But we're also willing, to work with existing organizations to offer our services, to speak to the young people. I was driven, and really, it blew my mind, with that walk, to go there. I listened to a young man who actually experienced gunshot wound firsthand, but he made it alive. So I would like to be in our organization. We also like to be part of something like that where we can talk to these kids and let them know who they are. Because I think a lot of the problems that we're having in our community is the fact that we do not know who we are. Our children don't even know even the grown-ups. The knowledge of self is key to living a better life. So any organization that's hear about us, see us, like what we're doing, and our background out there, our mission statement, our vision. You know what I mean? If you think that you kind of align with what we're doing, our ideology, definitely would definitely like to accommodate you and work with you.
Thank you so much, Mr. William. Thank you for those comments about your organization. But just joining us is Reverend Solomon Moen.
Yeah,
Reverend, welcome to the show.
yeah,
It's a pleasure to join you people, Mr. Sherry and Mr. Williams.
yeah.
I'm following the show, and you are asking some very, very important question. And I thank so much to Mr. Williams for the work he's doing in Liberia, impacting lives. And I'm happy to join you guys.
Thank you very much. But what are some of your thoughts on some of what the mission is about We Too Are Liberian movement?
So I mean, basically, I'm trying to get from Mr. Williams his future goal as it relates to that we two Liberians. I mean, and how can folks in the diaspora embrace this what he's doing to be a support arm in showing that the vision for or the mission Liberia can be successful.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Williams, coming back to you, I just want to thank you so much for sharing all the information that you are sharing with our listening and viewers all around the world today. Uh, People, I hope you guys were able to share the show. Let's come and listen to minority voices and know what is happening in our community. Mr. William, I just want to thank you once more for those inspiring words, all of those things coming from you. Some people may say it is too ambitious, but like I told you earlier, every step, I mean, everything you do, you got to just believe and then continue to work on some of the things that you really believe in, which is really what you are doing. So, how can you close in on this message about We Too Are Liberians movement? What can you tell our people that they did not hear from you today?
And that would be my closing remark, right?
Yes.
Again, I want to thank you for the opportunity, for having me on this platform today. I mean, I think it's a great privilege, it's an opportunity. I don't take it for granted. It's a blessing to share time and space with you. Again, the We Too All Liberians movement, we're dedicated. I would just say, for short, we're here to change the thought process, the mindsets of our people, because we believe that the problem that our country and our community is faced with has to do with the mindset of our people. If we can change the mindsets of our people, we believe that the things around them will change. And as far as Liberia, again, I'll go back. I know the Reverend was not here. Reverend, we hold strong this African proverb that says, it takes the village to raise the child. The village is crazy. The village will produce crazy children. So we want to make sure that we are stepping into the role of retweaking, revolutionizing, changing the thought processes of our mindset of our people, where our people will begin to see themselves different, because we believe that the people they've been sold out, they've been taken advantage of, And with a new mindset, a new process, they will be able to do for themselves. They will be able to think for themselves. They'll be able to make some positive decisions for themselves that will improve the quality of lives for them. For example, look at the choices that we continue to make. Look at the choices that people make, electing people into office that don't even have the country at heart. The same as going in the home. We parents are not parents no more. So if we can, just the knowledge of self, and change, the trajectory of the way we're thinking, the way we're doing things, we believe that our world will be, not only our country will be a better place, our world will be a better place because charity begins at home. So yeah, in the diaspora, same thing. We got parents who are facing a lot of problems. Like I said, we drive the economy in Liberia. So we can take care of ourselves here, what I mean? Locally, we can all work together as a team to foster this one, like I said, concept that we have the concept of I am because we are, and to foster I am only doing good if you're doing good. If I have 10 pair of shoes and Reverend Solomon is there, he does not have one, I must share with him. Why am I in the 10-barrel house and the neighbor right next door cannot even afford a single barrel? So all of those things we're trying to make sure that we push those agenda, and that's what we're preaching. And we believe that the We Too All Liberians movement has the propensity to make that happen. And the reason why one would say, why do you believe that's going to happen? In 1957, a young man by the name of Kwame Nkrumah, who was born in 1909, would come to America, go to school, pick up the ideology of Garvey and the host of other civil rights leaders will go back to Africa, and Ghana will gain her independence. 2008, I stand to be corrected, where the great United States of America produced a black president. So it is possible. If you think that, we don't have to use the guns no more to change that country. Liberia change, hopefully will be gradual. It's not 6 years from now. It's not 12 years from now. It might not be 18 years from now. We may not see it, but we are willing to begin the planning process, begin to design the blueprint, and hopefully the people that are going to come after us will be able to walk into it. Thank you very much for having me. Again, I represent the We Too All Liberians movement platform, the platform that speaks to and for the masses. We are not in the business of manufacturing players, pimps, and hustlers. Rather, we're in the business of changing and revolutionizing the thought process of our people, not only in Liberia, but even around the world. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We truly appreciate you coming to this program today. It is really a pleasure having you here to be able to talk to the people out there. We want you to come back whenever you feel like it, and make sure you can always share with us whatever you think, whatever are some of the projects that you want to undertake Liberia. It was really on behalf of Minority Voices and the Minority Center. I really like to profoundly thank you for being a part of our team today to discuss some of your goals in the community. Reverend, you want to say something, and then you and myself will stay here for a couple of minutes.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Williams, for such an initiative to inspire change through the change of mind in Liberia. Because if we were to have a better future, it starts with the mind. As a man thinketh, so is he. And the whole thought process is what makes development move forward. As a student, as a professional in development program, the mind is what we need to revolutionize. So thank you so much for the work. And by way of announcement, Mr. Sheriff and Mr. Williams will be hosting the executive director of African. African is
No, but let's finish.
The community Caribbean organization.
Mr. William?
Yes.
Let's finish with Mr. William. Mr. William, yes. Thank you very much for coming, and we will be in touch.
Okay. I also, again, and to close out, I want to thank the Minority Center. You guys are doing an incredible job. Keep up the good work. Look forward to interacting with all of you. And again, thank you for having me. I take this as a privilege and a blessing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Reverend, go ahead. You were saying something.
So we'll be hosting Mr. Dr. Eric Eddy. We want to discuss the U.S. election and the impact on
What happened to the man? Reverend? Reverend? Okay, I think we lost him. We have lost Reverend Williams. He is no. We have lost Reverend Williams, and we cannot continue the show until next time. That's this time, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we tell you thank you very much for joining us today, and for on behalf of the Minority Voices and the Minority Center, this is your host Ahmed Sharif. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back to studio. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sabat Conte. We welcome you back to the studio. It's a pleasure having you, Mr. Williams, and thank you, Mr. Sharif, for hosting this wonderful session. Please continue to listen to Minority Center, as Friday we are going to have another important interview. So we'd like to stay tuned. Thank you very much.